Over the years, the gaming mouse market has been very competitive, especially in the budget segment. But that doesn't stop Asus from joining in the fun with their latest TUF M3 Gen 2. Let us find out more what this gaming mouse has to offer after this intro and a quick unboxing. Priced at 1,150 Philippine peso, the TUF M3 Gen 2 is their second generation entry-level gaming mouse that is from their TUF lineup. This is an ultralight mice crafted for those competitive gamers with an ergonomic design for additional comfort, especially to those right-hand users. This is also wired, that is why they were able to keep it lightweight without punching holes on it. Build quality-wise, starting with its outer shell, and given its cheap price, the TUF M3 Gen 2 is housed by an all-plastic design which feels solid, and I was glad that Asus was able to make it light while not making it feel cheap. The sides are also in plastic with a texturized design for improved grip over having a rubberized material. I've been leaning to this design lately as the rubber gets worn down over time, which already happened to my Razer mouse. Dimension is at 123 by 68 by 40mm. It is on the more standard size, so if you are used to smaller mouse like the Viper Mini G102 or the Glorious O-, then this is not for you. Weight-wise, it is actually super light, and to be honest, I am a heavy mouse user myself. But after 2 weeks of using the TUF M3 Gen 2, I can see now why some people prefer light ones. The strain is much less and I was able to lift it much faster. One thing that differentiates the Gen 2 from its Gen 1 is the addition of an IP56 dust and water resistant rating and a new antibacterial coating, which is actually a huge benefit if this is going to be used in a computer rental shop. Shape-wise, I always prefer right-handed mouse as compared to ambidextrous design, with an exception to the G304 because it was a really good and cheap wireless mouse back then. And the M3 Gen 2 definitely was no exception to this fantastic form factor. I am a palm grip user myself, and this has got to be one of the better mouse that I've used, as the height of its palm rest is just right enough for me to still reach all buttons. Moving on to its buttons, the Gen 2 is a bit of a downgrade as compared to its predecessor in terms of the number of buttons that the mouse has. Now it only has 6 buttons, so the default action for the middle button now cycles the DPI selection one way instead of being cycled it bidirectionally. DPI cycling includes a preset with 4 modes that is assigned to a color for faster recalling. Asus did not mention what are the switches they used on this mouse, but so far, the clicks are good and is miles ahead as compared to the other cheap mouse that I've tested before. Also, as per Asus, it has 60 million lifespan and hopefully the switches are good enough to last few years before suffering to double clicking. All buttons, by the way, can be mapped via their Armory Crate software together with its RGB lighting. Scroll wheel has a nice tactile feel to it, and scrolling is easy enough with its rubber exterior. I added a quick sound test for you to have a gist on how the buttons and the scroll would sound. For its sensor, the TUF M3 Gen 2 uses an optical sensor that is from PixArt, the PAW3318. This is the same sensor used in their entry-level gaming mice, which spans from 100 to 8000 dpi. Much lower than the others out there, but I think this is still high enough for most use cases. It also has a max speed of 200 IPS and a max acceleration of 32G. And to be frank, there is no way for me on testing this one, but based from my personal experience, tracking is great and I didn't encounter any problems, jitters, cursor hopping from my 2-week usage. I was not able to cover its lift-off distance too, but Asus offers two modes via their software to cover both bases. Complementing its sensors are huge Teflon Fit that is actually great and allows me to glide my mouse easily. And this also has a more standard design, so replacing it should be easy enough. As for my thoughts on the TUF M3 Gen 2, I really like the feel and the design of this mouse as I was easily able to adjust to it with my grip style. And while this is 500 pesos more than the first generation, I do think that this is justifiable given that you'll get better sensor, better switch, 30% lighter, and finally, an IP rating with antibacterial coating. But for someone like me, who has been using wireless mouse for over 10 years now, I just don't see myself going back to wired one, mainly due to the drag that cables introduces unless you go for a mouse bungee. At the same time, I also tried to limit cables on my setup for a more clutter-free desk. But if they will have a wireless model for the TUF M3 Gen 2, then I would most likely consider this one as my next gaming mouse. But if you are looking for an upgrade from your regular mouse or just want a good budget gaming mouse, then the TUF M3 Gen 2 should be a worthy consideration. So that's it for today, and hopefully this video helped you. What are your thoughts on the TUF M3 Gen 2? Or do you have any recommendations on a budget gaming mouse? Comment it down below. And once again, this is Brain of Junkyard Summit. Thank you, and I'll see you in the next video.